Hello, I am Drag, and in this video I will be doing another movie review. This movie is called A Very Country Christmas. Now, the reason why I initially looked into this movie was because an actor, whom I also follow on Instagram, I saw was in this movie. I'm like, ooh, okay, this looks like it'll be a good movie. I've been waiting to see this movie for 2 years. 2 years. And when I say I was not disappointed, I was not disappointed. Well, okay. I was kind of disappointed. I was kind of disappointed because the title implies that this, movie takes place in the country, like at a ranch. But it doesn't. It doesn't. Country in this aspect is referring to the genre of music because our title character, his name is Zane Gunther. Isn't that the best name you've ever heard? So I guess I will start the movie. So the movie opens with our aforementionedly named Zane Gunther, and that is a porn name, so I'm gonna call him Porn Star from now on. So the movie opens with Porn Star ignoring a phone call at a packed concert, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm so sick of this." And he just leaves while his manager is like furiously calling his phone. And then like his manager goes back to his green room. I don't know why the manager didn't just start with that, because what are the odds that he would hear? So he ditches the concert. He doesn't even sing a word. Like, he doesn't sing a single note. And I'm assuming that his business is furious because, you would be because of all the refunds you had to give, on top of people being assholes. The next scene shows us our female lead. Her name is Jeanette, but we don't actually learn that until much later. Jeanette is there with her daughter at this house that they're preparing for a showing. The house that they're working on right now, or the house that they were in, is not, it's Porn Star's house, but apparently the house was on the market, and she was fixing it up for this showing of, who was like anybody who would be interested in buying it. What happens is the daughter knocks over a vase, and the plant she breaks the vase. Like she knocks over the vase, and then they have to go to an art show where Janet's mom is. But for some reason they call her Aunt Suze. I don't know why. So they go to get a vase from the gallery that Aunt Suze is at. So Pornstar enters the town, and he is pulled over by a sheriff deputy, and she at first does not know who he is until she reads his ID, at which point she becomes ecstatic and asks for a selfie and lets him off with a warning. Then we go to our female lead again. An art show where we see Aunt Suze, and Janet is there to get the replacement, but also to drop off her daughter, presumably so she doesn't break any more stuff at the house. And then she drives back to the house. At the house, she doesn't see this, but there's a really obnoxiously blue car, and Pornstar is in there as she's fixing the vase. Pornstar comes out of the shower, and he has pants on, but we clearly see that he's just showered. So meets her, and then she's like, "Oh crap, I was not expecting anybody to be here. I am so sorry, I must leave." And then she hastily exits. And then we cut to the agent, very very good looking Billy. Pornstar's manager's name is Billy, gets a call while he is eating a Subway sandwich from his sexy boss, and she is pissed. And she's like, okay, well, you better find him. You better find Pornstar, or else you gonna be fired. Okay? That is Billy's reason for being in the story. So Janet goes back home, and her daughter's asleep, and she left her cookies and whatnot. Left her a little note, like, "Oh, mommy, I'm so sorry. I couldn't wait up. I fell asleep," or whatever. I forgot what the note said. Aunt Suze is just like, "Oh, Janet, you know what? You need to get you a man. I know that you got all this responsibility. You got a daughter, and you going to school. You're working like 10 jobs, but you need to get you a man, girl." And I'm just like, what? She's like 22 at best. Maybe. I don't know. She looks 22. She could be older. I thought she was 22. 22, 25, 22, mid-20s. Like 27 max. She's like, "Oh yeah, no, you gotta get you a man." I'm like, well, why? I mean, she's kind of already preoccupied with a bunch of other stuff, but this is a Harlequin novel adapted into a movie. I don't know what I was expecting. But the next morning, Janet is running late. She gets a call from her boss? I don't know, I don't even know what to call him. I don't know, it doesn't matter. But he calls her Jeanette. Like, he says her name in a French accent, even though that was the only time that it's been implied that that's how you're supposed to say her name, because everybody else just calls her Janet. But it is spelled the French way. But she gets fired because the owner of the house has decided to take it off the market. So I guess she's out of a job. Then Janet's like angry, and she goes to her other job, which is at a coffee shop, where she is asked out by a redheaded man. But since redheaded man is not porn star, he has no chance with Jeanette. So yeah, that was kind of sad to see. But redhead has this really hot friend, and I just thought that she was very attractive. She's too pretty to be hanging out with these two guys. It was one of those situations like where, oh yeah, no, she's just a wallflower. She just kind of exists, but no. A woman like that does not just hang around two guys that were not that attractive. No offense to those two. Then we cut to porn star, and he goes to like this building. I have no idea what this building is, but there were two women, one of them named Monica and the other named Jolene. Monica is adorable, and I want to protect her, and I just only want good things for her because she's adorable. And yeah, Jolene, though, he was there to see Jolene. He is in a get-up that makes him look like Ashton Kutcher, so, you know, a hat and sunglasses. The two of them, Jolene and Pornstar, catch up. That's when Pornstar discloses the information that he was getting bored of playing the guitar, playing the concert tours because he wasn't actually singing them. So he was basically just lip syncing the entire time. Like the entire last year that he was going on tour, he was not like actually singing, and instead that kind of sucked the fun out of it. And you know, I get that. Janet sees the car, Pornstar's car, and then she's like, oh, he's here, and she storms in pissed. She does not recognize him as the country music singer, and I guess I kind of like that. I like that they do that when they don't recognize them, because how funny would it be to just like run into... Actually, I think that did happen to me once. I ran into a YouTuber back before YouTubers were a thing. I think he was a content creator, and I was in this card shop, and I walked in, and he just kind of like looked at me, and like he was leaving at the same time that went in there, and I just was like, oh, okay. And then looking back, I'm like, holy shit, that was Little Karibo. That was Little Karibo. What? Why was he in a card shop? I don't know. It might not have been him. It looked like him. So Janet is pissed. And she's like, oh my god, how could you get me fired from the job? Why'd you take the house off the market and everything? And he's like, oh yeah, no, I just took it off the market. I didn't mean to get you fired. Although I have a feeling that like as an interior, like I don't know how interior designs work, but I'm assuming that she would just get put onto another project rather than like be out of a job completely. Janet says something that makes it sound like the two of them had sex, and Jolene was like, ooh, girl, okay, look at you. And then Jolene was like, you were checking out his abs, weren't you? After they try to explain, like, no, he just came out of the shower, he was fully clothed, I mean, he didn't have a shirt on, and she was like, you were checking out his abs. Kind of name drops porn star, and I was like, wow, I mean, I would do the same thing, you know, like, just get that. It doesn't really matter, but they're both blonde women who have their hair curled, and both their names start with J. Granted, they do sound different enough, but we will get into that later. So Janet gets a call, and then she steps out to answer this call, and then Pornstar like follows her out like after the call is done. He's like, oh hey, you want to go to dinner? I'm like, why? And he's like, oh, because I got you fired and everything, and I want to make it up to you, you know, I'm really not a bad guy, and all that stuff. I was like, but why dinner? Why dinner? That doesn't... Oh, all the thing, like, you literally just met this person. Why dinner? Like, send her a fruit basket or something. So in that scene, we see Billy, or as I like to call him, Daddy, entering a bar. And this is where we see Clive! Oh my god, it's Clive! I mean, granted, his name is Morty in this one, or is it Marty? I don't know. I'm gonna call him Clive. So it is implied that Clive was a former bully of Billy. And when he recognizes him, he's like, "Oh, Billy Goat, Billy Goat, do the Billy Goat thing," like that whole thing. And when I say the sexual tension between these two is palpable, I mean it. Like, I, it was so thick that I could drink it. That is how, that is how hard I would ship these two. In fact, I think I may or may not be drawing a picture of the two as a couple. Future drag, make it happen. Because I really, really want to see that. Make past drag happy. Next scene. Jeanette brings coffee to Jolene and Monica at the... I still don't know what it is. I want to call it a concert hall. There. So she brings more food there. And Pornstar is there. And Jeanette's kind of like awkward. But Monica does not recognize Pornstar. She just kind of says, "Oh, you look like that singer." And I was be like, he kind of looks like Ashton Kutcher with that hat on. But we've already been there. I love everything about Monica because she is adorable. Then Jolene and Monica leave to do like a group thing. That leaves Janet and Pornstar all by themselves to deck the entire stage. And after they're done with that, it's implied that a couple hours went by. They are just talking, and Janet is like, "Oh yeah, I don't like to talk about, the boring stuff. Oh, what's it like on the road or whatever? Because those questions kind of bore me. It's like she's not like other girls. I don't know. It's just really, really, really interesting when you come across characters that aren't like other girls. Pornstar basically asks her, "What is the song that's changed your life?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I heard this one song. I have no idea what it's called, but I remember these lyrics." And surprise, it turns out Pornstar was like, that was the first song he ever recorded. She's like, "Oh, you recorded that song?" And it's one of those things where you wish that you could hear it, but they're not gonna actually perform it. And, he doesn't. He doesn't perform that entire song. Then her daughter and Aunt Sue's come by because I guess Aunt Sue's got off work or something. But she's dropping off the little girl. And the mom was like, "Oh, but I still have some work to do. So, Pornstar, why don't you take her to the park?" And I'm just like, "What? I literally just met you and you want me to take your daughter to a park?" And then someone was like, "Oh, yeah, he would be glad to..." It was Jolene. Jolene was like, "Oh, yeah, he would love to do that." No, that is not okay. I do not know her like that. I just met her. It'd be really weird. At the park, Pornstar and the daughter, I don't think I wrote down the daughter's name. No, I did not write down the daughter's name. It's not really important. Them and the daughter do the whole bonding thing. They drop this line that indicates that Billy and Pornstar are brothers. They are. They're brothers. It was supposed to be, oh, I wonder who his brother is. And I'm like, considering how small this cast is, it can really only be one person. Since you have a brother, it's obviously not Redhead or his weird friend. It can't be the hot girl that hangs out with Redhead and his weird friend. It can only be Billy. So I was like, okay. We know how that management works, right? You gotta keep it in the family. Okay, and while they are hanging out, the daughter is just asking the most questions. Like, "Oh, why don't you have kids? Well, my mommy, why don't you have a girlfriend? Why don't you have a wife? My mommy's a girl." And it's like, Jesus Christ. But then I'm just like, you know what? Kids do that. They do that a lot. Because they have no sensors, or whatever the fuck you call that. And after they get back, after the mom's all done, after Janet's all done with everything, Pornstar asks her out on a not date to go see a movie, as, "Oh, it's the least I can do for getting you to lose your job." What he did was he basically rented out private theater, and after the whole montage of the movie, they play video games on the system that Pornstar had got the daughter. This upsets Janet, because Janet's just like, "Oh my god, what the fuck? Why are you buying my daughter all this stuff? I literally just met you. It's really weird." And this is actually one of those instances where I know this is where they do the whole thing right. This is where, somebody being upset at something, because it looks like he's pitying on her for getting her, she lost her job, well, that one job. So as far as he knows, that's the only job she has. And she's in school, and it's like, "Oh, here, let me get your daughter this, because all you could afford her was some ratty ass gloves." And then, but this whole scene was executed beautifully, in my opinion, because they actually talked it out like adults, rather than her just like, "Oh, come on, whatever the hell your name is, daughter." and just storming off. She actually talked it out, and then he talked out his piece, and then she's like, okay, okay, I understand. I understand. Thank you. That was very sweet of you. And then they go back in the theater and play video games. We need more of that. More of that, please. More healthy communication. Thank you. So, Redhead's friend, his name is Bug. We don't find out until much later. But Bug is like, oh, hey, isn't that Janet? Isn't she on a date? After previously, she basically turned him down. And Redhead is justifiably upset because it looks like she's on a date after she said, I don't date. And then I'm just, why would you do that to Bug? Bug is the guy. Why would you tell him? Why not just not mention it? That's really one of those things where it's just like, oh shit. And then you just make passive aggressive like jabs at Janet, but you don't tell your friend that you saw her on a date. Like, I don't know. Anyway, the hot friend is justifiably upset at Bug because she's like, why would you do that? Why would you? You knew he liked her, so why would you? Bug is a bad character. I don't just mean like poorly written. I also mean like bad, as in like his motives are bad. He's just an overall asshole. Back at the coffee shop, the deputy runs in. She's like, oh my god, you'll never guess who I met, who I'm dating. I'm dating the country music porn star. And she shows a selfie to the barista, and she's like, oh wow. Okay, I can dig this. And Redhead hears this, and he's like, oh god, this guy's a player, and he leaves upset. And instead of going to Janet, I mean, like, that's one of those things, but, you know, we need the third act breakup, the third act misunderstanding to happen, so he doesn't go to Janet. To make up that, the previous night up to porn star, Janet has him run some errands with her, and she cuts down one of his trees from his lot of land. She has him cut down one of his own trees. And then they take it inside and decorate it. You could have just decorated it from outside. But no, they couldn't do that because we need an awkward kiss scene for them to happen. And it's really awkward. The reason why it's awkward is because up until this point, we haven't really gotten any romantic chemistry from the two. There's undeniably chemistry between these two. But it's not romantic chemistry. It's, oh, hey, yeah, we've been best friends since we were 3 years old. It's that kind of chemistry. So it's not, oh, yeah, no, we should start making out. It's, I really appreciate you as a friend. Both of us, we are just platonic friends. There was no romantic chemistry between these two. Janet gets a call just as they're about to kiss, really awkwardly. Then after that call, a little time has passed, they've been talking a while, and then they have their 3 chords moment, and then they kiss. While all of this is happening, Billy gets a call from his boss, who is being a ballbuster, you know, as usual. And she's like, oh, okay, well, you know what? You better find that guy, otherwise you won't have a job. And Billy's like, I have a bunch of other acts in case something like this happens. She's like, no. Porn star for unspecified reasons. So you better get him, or you better not come back at all. While Janet's leaving Porn Star's house, Redhead's friend, Bug, like, I guess was following her in, like, the creepiest way possible. Yeah, then it's the next day. Billy goes to Jolene's concert hall, and they obviously know each other, and he's looking for him. And she's like, oh, well, I don't know where he is. It's the last time I talked to him was like a year ago. Obviously lying his cover. And he's like, we used to be friends, Janet. And then he goes back to his car, and Bug, this scene. So maybe it's just this actor, but every interaction that he has with the male character that is not the lead, the most sexual energy there. But this time, granted, it was from Bug, the actor playing Bug, and not Billy. So, Bug walks up to the car, and, like, Billy just kind of, like, slowly rolls down his window, like, what's up? What do you want? He's like, oh, I know where Porn Star is, but I'll only tell you if you know the hustle. And then he gives this big smile, like creepiest smile. Oh, yeah. If you want the information, you better get on your knees, boy. That kind of look. Then they cut to, like, the next scene where Billy drives up to the house that Porn Star is at. I don't know why our childhood home was the first place I didn't look. And I was like, oh, they're brothers. Surprise, surprise. Who saw that coming? And Janet is rushing there. Oh, I have no idea how they found out. And then she is bombarded by the media who was following her because Bug basically leaked the information on where porn star was because he's an asshole. At the same time, though, it doesn't make sense why he would leak the information of porn star because one, he doesn't know that Janet was on a date with him, and two, it's never explained how he realized that that was porn star. Your qualm was with Janet, so why would you intentionally go out of your way to hurt somebody else? That doesn't, because she's not just gonna suddenly be like, porn star, I can't handle this. I can't deal with all this. I mean, that is what she does because, he basically asked her to uproot her entire life to go with him in a cabin for a couple of days. And she's like, yeah, no, I can't do that. I have a life and responsibilities here. Sorry, bro. Might have to call off whatever this thing was. And then she kind of dips. Then we cut to the next scene with porn star and Billy in the back of... I cannot help it. So, it was at this point that I was like, okay, I need to look up this actor. Because he is... So I did. And I found out who he was. And it turns out that he is Neighbor Dan from Charmed. He is Neighbor Dan from Charmed. And I was... oh my god, it makes so much sense now. And at that point, I kind of wanted to rewatch the whole movie with the knowledge that he was Neighbor Dan. And then just like, in my head, just go, oh, Neighbor Dan. Why, Neighbor Dan? But no. I refrained from doing that. Like, the movie proceeded on. Back at the coffee shop, Bug is paying his tab. Paying, like, the tab of all of his friends, because, he's an asshole. And he's like, oh, look at all this money I got. Ha 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 ha, I'm a total dick. And they're like, oh, you never pay, which, adds to the whole he's an asshole thing. That you never pay for the tab. And then he does, and then the deputy walks in, responding to the news report saying, yeah, you guys, look at Janet and porn star, they look so happy. And this is where I have to tell you, she's saying this to the barista, that I am not dating porn star. And then the barista's like, wow, stop the presses. I would not, in a million years, I would have never seen that information coming. I love that. I love the barista. Then Redhead's like, wait, he's not dating you? He's not a player? And then she's like, no, at least I don't think. And then, he's suddenly happy? I don't know. Cut to a sound check from a blonde woman with curled hair who is also white, just like Jolene and our female protagonist. And I paused the movie here while I was writing down these notes. And I was like, is that Janet? No, it can't be. Is that? No. Mate. No. And I was just looking at this image for 5 minutes. Because I was just, have I really had no idea what our leading lady looked like this entire movie? And this is where casting comes into play. And this is why the whole trope of the three friends, all with different hair colors, the blonde, the brunette, and the redhead, that actually exists for a reason. And people do not understand that you also need to do it in your live action shows too. Your live action movies, whatever. Because your characters need to be immediately identifiable the second that they are on screen. The same thing happened with Karate Kid, Cobra Kai, and the bitch daughter, one of her friends. They're both about the same height. They're both brunette, and they both had their hair curled. They were at a pool scene, and I'm just trying to explain this scene to my family. And I was like, yeah. These two characters, they were sitting next to each other. One of them was Danny's daughter, and the other wasn't. I literally could not tell them apart. And I was not joking. I could not tell them apart. This is why it's so important. They're doing a sound check, and this blonde lady who just came out of nowhere, she was not previously established. You could have made that Monica. You could have made Monica the singer, and it would have worked so much better. It was like, oh, okay, this makes so much more sense. Because, you have a small cast, but, she probably knew somebody. She's probably just, the director's best friend's niece or something. They're doing a sound check. Jeanette is torn up at the fact that she just kind of broke up. I don't know. They never really made it official. But, that she kind of, quote-unquote, broke up with him. Broke up with a porn star. They're Janet is distraught, and they just kind of talk it over. They ask the singer, I don't remember catching her name, and I didn't write it down. They ask her to take a break because the techies just, like, they're just not hitting their time cues. I know, right? It's so hard to find good help these days. Cut to the concert, and Janet was working backstage. She's the stage manager, effectively. And she is... Oh, no, I forgot what they were doing. Then, the blonde lady, the new blonde lady, they showed her, and it was at this point that I paused the screen, and I looked over at my brother. I'm like, do you see the importance of characters having different hair colors? And I know, right? I'm really one to talk, since a lot of my characters are just tall, white passing guys with brown hair. But no, it is important. It is important for that very reason. Because, granted, they all were different heights, with Jeanette basically being the tallest one. It was still very hard to tell them apart. And it was very funny, too. Because if you looked at them individually, they look nothing alike. Except for maybe Janet and the new lady. But no, this is why it's important. Put on some wigs. Invest in wigs, okay? Their hair would look just as nice, if not better, because it will do the audience a world of good. What happens after that was Redhead meets Janet backstage. He's like, oh my god, so I found out that you were dating him. I'm happy for you too. And then she's, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And then I'm like, oh, okay, so this is why they introduced that new blonde girl. They introduced her so that he could get with Redhead. And then it'd be like a whole thing. No. Instead, Redhead gets shacked up with his hot friend. And then the new blonde lady sings a song. And it's all very pretty. It's very pretty. And then Jolene comes out. This is the final number. She's like, so I have not sung in almost 5 years. And somebody asked me to perform. And then Pornstar comes out on stage. And he's like, yeah, we should sing a song together. And then he stops the whole show to tell Janet, like, Janet, I love you. I know we've only known each other for like a week max, but we belong together. Billy gets a call from his boss, and he effectively quits. Because I'm going to start my own business. Fuck you. And then they sing a song. Billy doesn't sing. Jolene and Pornstar sing a song, and the movie ends. I'm not joking. It just ends. I'm like, really? No after credit stinger? And I knew that there wasn't, because Netflix was like, okay, what do you want to watch next? And it only ever does that if there's no after credit stinger. I'm like, what? It just ends? No! It has not been resolved. I mean, everything had been resolved. But this movie was so short. It was short for a movie called A Very Country Christmas. And I did enjoy the ride. I wish Clive had showed up a little bit more. He only showed up once. That made me sad. Okay, yeah. So, anyway, thanks for watching and listening to me ramble about this movie that was ultimately kind of disappointing because it didn't take place on a ranch like I had thought it would. But yeah, so Merry Christmas, and bye.